Hey guys, Swordbrain here today, bringing you guys another YouTube video. In today's YouTube video, this is unscripted, so if you hear a lot of cuts, it's because I'm saying or something of that nature. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the Sonic Frontiers Update 3. The Sonic Frontiers 3rd update was interesting. Okay, first off, let's get it right off the bat. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The difficulty spike is like so incredibly jarring. It's as if you're playing like an entirely different game. I'm pretty good at Sonic Frontiers, like, you know, S ranks on all of the boss rushes and all that, so I'm pretty legit when it comes to that. I'm pretty legit when it comes to that Sonic Frontiers gaming scape. But no, this DLC is just so difficultly jarring that it pretty much feels like a whole other game. See, one problem that makes it so jarring is that there's a lot of tasks that they give you to do, and they just don't tell you what you need to do. Like, this was sort of a problem like in the base game, like with the Supreme. There's just this weird part where you have to stop attacking and you have to attack like the little diamond thingies that Supreme shot out, which is like, okay, why didn't you just tell me this information? Because I've been like beating on this guy's head for like 5 minutes now. But it was accentuated in the Sonic Frontiers DLC. Like, literally nothing was told to you except for the location of things. Like, for example, when you were playing as Tails, when you were trying to like hack into the Coco or something, you needed specific skills to actually progress through the game, and the game never tells you what skills you need. In the final end boss fight, there's like these certain areas that you have to side loop, certain times that you have to like dodge, certain times you have to change your area of attack, but the game never tells you that. Like, literally, there's one part in the Supreme end fight that you just have to side loop a gun, and the game doesn't tell you that? Like, seriously? Why would I think about side looping the gun, like, at all? But nope, the game just assumes that you know that already. Let's talk about the trials. Okay, the trials were, easy, kind of. Like, the first trial was super easy. The second trial was the hardest. It gave you 2 minutes to defeat these things that would constantly shield themselves from you. That was one of the more difficult ones, but even then, you just have to learn something, and it's manageable. So, like, they give you like 2 minutes to do that, and by the end, I think I finished it with like 30 seconds remaining. So I'm thinking that, wow, that was difficult. The next one is going to be harder. So, it was those like little spinning robots. This is unscripted, don't judge me for calling them spinning robots. So they spin around you and they attack you and you have to parry. They gave you like 5 minutes to defeat this thing. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be much more difficult than the second one. And there's going to be multiple phases. But nope. You just parry, you attack them, and it took me less than a minute to defeat them. Third one was fighting the ninja, and for some reason, they gave you 10 minutes to defeat a singular enemy, which, okay, like, I did not need that much time to defeat the ninja. Like, it's crazy. Okay. Let's talk about the Master King trials, and boy, oh boy, okay, I'm not the best gamer in the world, okay? But I have beaten some pretty difficult games. Like, I've beaten both of the modern Doom games. Ignore the bird in the background. I've beaten the modern Doom games. I've beaten Weeb Souls, which, by the way, Weeb Souls literally has a boss that can kill you in one hit, okay? And it is extremely hard to dodge that guy's attacks. So I've beaten Weeb Souls, I've beaten Doom, I've beaten Tales of Arise, which has a pretty complex fighting system, and was difficult. All of those games were... I've also beaten Alien Isolation too, but like that's not really a fighting game. I don't know if that counts or not. So basically, I've beaten difficult games in the past. So tell me, why is Sonic Hedgehog game the hardest game I've ever played in my life? Like, what? These Master King trials were so incredibly difficult, and it's like, there's no reason for it. Like, for some reason, a developer thought, let's give you 400 rings. Like, remember those 999 rings you worked hard for, like, the entire game? Nah, those don't matter anymore. We're just gonna drop you down to 400 rings, and you're gonna have to fight all of these bosses with also level 1 stats, which I've never fought these bosses at level 1 before, because all throughout the game I was leveling up even in the beginning, so I don't know why you felt the need. Like, what was the point of doing this? Like, when the Master King trials first started, before like I started losing my mind, like that I couldn't regenerate rings, I was like, man, okay, if we have to fight 3 of the Titans again, then that's probably not gonna make Supersonic feel special, because I've already been playing as Supersonic for the past 5 hours or so. Spoilers. Okay. So, why did you feel the rush? Not only... Well, okay. Why did you feel the need to not only give us a slew of supersonic boss fights before another supersonic boss fight, but why did you feel the need to make it so insanely difficult that by the time you are done with the Master King trials, you don't want to play as Supersonic anymore? Like, whoever pitched this idea to Kishimoto, I just want to talk. Like, where are you at? I just want to talk, for real. So, the Master King trials are incredibly difficult, the most difficult challenge I've ever had to play in a video game ever, which is crazy, talking about a Sonic game. But yeah, after 5 hours, which it probably took me more than 5 hours to defeat it, of just straight gameplay. I did take a few breaks in between. But yeah, like over 5 hours of straight gameplay just to defeat this trial, and I had to learn every strategy in the book. I ended up with like 30 rings at the end. Another thing that also made the Master King trials insanely difficult, and it actually highlighted that the supersonic boss fights in this game have a lot more flaws than I originally thought. Like, who would have thought that replaying like boss fights a million times would make me realize that these boss fights do have quite a few flaws to them. So, I don't know if I missed something or not, but for some reason, when you go to the ring thing, you start the whole new DLC thing, and it's like, they start you off, and you're running, and then Sage shows up, and then she's like, there's another way or something, and then it's like, you have to gather the Chaos Emeralds. Are you serious? I've already gathered, like, all 7 of them, what's going on? Like, I've already had the 7 Chaos, oh, not 7, 6. I had, like, 6 Chaos Emeralds, or 5, I forgot, 6 or 5. I already have most of the Chaos Emeralds, like, I don't need any more. What's going on? But no, they just ignore that you gathered like all of the Chaos Emeralds, and then you have to gather them as Knuckles, Tails, and Amy. Okay, so it was all of them trying their best with teamwork, pretty cool stuff. The cyber corruptions, where they were like, man, this cyber corruption stuff really sucks. I can't believe Sonic was going through all of this. It was cool seeing all of the characters just like facing adversity and then just overcoming it. Like, yeah, that's cool. No, yeah, it's cool, I guess. So yeah, they just all are doing their thing, and okay, that's all, folks. Okay, so the end Supreme fight. Okay, the story behind that. Okay, so you beat Supreme, then like the Supreme just gets a power up from the end, and like I said, the end boss fight was very confusing to say the least. So eventually during that fight there's also this moment where Sage just shields Eggman, and then Tails, Knuckles, and Amy start like helping Sage with the shield for some reason. Like I was like, why are you doing this? You guys don't really need to be here. Like, can anyone tell me what was the point of the shield thing that Sage put up? Like, they could have just left. Like, why did they need to watch the fight? I don't know. So after that, there's eventually a moment where Sonic goes inside of like Supreme's gun, which I gotta say is pretty cool. I was like, when I first seen it, it reminded me of like Sonic X during like the Meta X saga, where Sonic would like go into like this space cannon and they would power it up and then he'd blast out of it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, I would say that the end, like, this was actually a massive improvement over the original, even though I will say that I did not actually find the original boss fight bad at all. I actually had a lot of fun with it. I'm a Touhou fan, so, you know, like, it reminded me of that, but like not nearly as hard, because Touhou is like ridiculously hard, like where I could never even dream of beating it. It was like playing Touhou for like toddlers. So I actually did enjoy the original incarnation of the end boss fight, and one thing I will say that the original has over the new one is like the original end, like the dude or dudette, I forgot, I think it was a dudette. So the dudette okay, so she was just talking all sorts of mad smack about how she was infinite, how like, oh yeah, you beat the Time Eater, you beat Solaris, child's play, I could beat them all in my sleep. It was a very, like, it was actually, it felt like big boss time, you know. It was like pretty intimidating, it felt big, it felt grand. For some reason they just decided not to have that whole monologue in this new fight, which kind of made it feel a little bland. Like there was barely any talking throughout that entire fight, which is kind of disappointing. I would have loved to hear like the end just talking so much about how powerful she is, and then I would have liked that. I would have liked if Sonic actually talked, but then again, we did get these super epic poses that Sonic was doing the entire fight, which, I mean, that's good enough for me, I guess, for the Sonic part. So Sonic did his thing by being cool, but the end just didn't really say anything at all. So, at the end of the day, Okay, would I recommend you play Update 3? Well, it depends. Do you value your sanity? Okay, like, it was tough. It was tough, but, like, it's free content. Like, why complain, you know? Like, they're not forcing you to play this. They're not. Like, it doesn't affect the main story. You can still play the original game through and through. But this one is much better. Ooh, no script. I almost forgot. The ending where Sage is alive makes it all worth it to play. So play the Update 3 because Sage survives, and I'm not crying because she dies and Eggman is all alone. But it always comes that time of day when I have to say bye.